Vice Premier Ding Xuexiang urges Hong Kong to strengthen its unique position and edges. Foreign Minister Wang Yi vows Beijing will resolutely counteract if the U.S. kept on suppressing China. And in contrary, U.S. President Donald Trump halts imposing extra levies on more Canadian and Mexican imports. Good evening. You're watching Cable News. I'm Jeremy Chu. Vice Premier Ding Xuexiang, mainland's top official overseeing Hong Kong affairs, urged the city's National People's Congress delegates to maintain national security vigilance while driving innovation-led growth during a high-profile meeting at Beijing's Great Hall of the People. Quentin Yang reports.
Ding was greeted with a standing ovation by Hong Kong NPC deputies as he entered the Hong Kong Hall. This marks his second consecutive year engaging with the city's delegation for deliberations. Also present were Xia Baolong, director of the Hong Kong and Macau Affairs Office, and Zheng Yansheng, director of the Liaison Office in Hong Kong. Ding first listened to remarks from Hong Kong deputies, and Starry Lee, the city's sole member on the NPC Standing Committee, was the first to address the floor. Lee said, Hong Kong's current stability and harmony are hard-won and must be cherished. We must enhance national security education, especially among the younger generation. High-level security will ensure high-quality development. Ding wrapped up, underscoring the city's progress on Article 23 security legislation, cautioning that internal and external risks remain. He urged the vigilance to protect the one country, two systems principle. With the 2025 Legislative Council polls approaching, the top official called for unity under patriotic governance to consolidate Hong Kong's post-2019 recovery. Quentin Yang, Cable News.
Following the meeting with Ding Xuexiang, Hong Kong delegates emphasized the central government's commitment to the city's stability and development. Delegation head Ma Fong Kwok highlighted Ding's praise for Hong Kong's progress, particularly the enactment of Article 23 national security legislation, which he said solidified the city's legal framework. Ma also cited Ding's acknowledgement for the city's advancements in economic and financial sectors, stressing its steady shift from order to prosperity through deeper integration with national strategies. Separately, NPC Standing Committee member Starry Lee noted Ding's deep familiarity with local affairs, recognizing achievements such as resumed economic growth alongside persistent challenges. She underscored the need to strengthen Hong Kong's role as a global hub for finance, trade, and talent while promoting patriotic education. During discussions, Delegate Ronick Chan raised concerns about Hong Kong lagging behind Singapore in fintech development, to which Ding reportedly urged closer collaboration with the mainland, highlighting its advancements in the sector. 6 more Hong Kongers, 3 men and 3 women aged between 29 and 44, were rescued from a suspected scam compound near the Myanmar-Thailand border, marking the latest victory in an ongoing operation to free local victims of alleged job trafficking rings in Southeast Asia. Security Chief Chris Ting said no ransom payment was involved. Quentin Yang reports.
Tan, speaking to reporters at the airport after returning from a covert mission in Thailand, confirmed the group was safely extracted following a 2-day joint operation with regional authorities. They are in stable condition and eager to reunite with their families tonight, he said, adding that the rescue involved no ransom payments. The individuals are expected to return to Hong Kong later tonight under the escort of a security task force. The operation brings the total number of rescued residents to 25 out of 28 reported cases since 2024, with 10 vowing to exploit every avenue to recover the remaining 3. He emphasized the challenges posed by the volatile border region, where criminal networks often relocate victims abruptly. Secrecy is critical. Publicizing details could jeopardize lives, Tan said, defending the government's decision to withhold operational specifics. The rescues follow intensified efforts by Hong Kong authorities, including a January visit to Bangkok by Deputy Security Secretary Michael Chuk to dismantle trafficking operations. Kun Ting-yang, Cable News.
MTR Corporation, the city's sole railway operator, will increase the base salary for its non-management staff by 1.8% to 5.4%, effective from the 1st of April. The pay rise will be adjusted according to employees' performance ratings. Those rated at the highest level, Grade 5, will receive a 5.4% increase. More than half of the staff who are rated at Grade 3 will see a 3.6% rise in their basic salary. MTR stated that the salary adjustments were made after balancing the company's business conditions and sustainability. In addition to the pay rise, the company will also consider awarding bonuses based on business performance. Chairman of the Federation of Railway Trade Unions, Lam Kwai-kung, welcomed the pay rise but highlighted that the night shift allowance has remained unchanged for nearly 3 years. He noted the unique pressures of night shift work, often under tight deadlines, and expressed hope for future negotiations to secure a higher allowance. In Beijing, Foreign Minister Wang Yi criticized U.S. tariffs and accused Washington of meeting good with evil, vowing to counter U.S. pressure on fentanyl issue. Anna Chen tells us more.
Wang spoke in a press conference today on the sidelines of China's annual parliamentary session in Beijing. Responding to Trump's new tariffs on Chinese goods, Wang said Beijing has provided various assistance over the years on tackling the flow of fentanyl into the U.S. He threatened to worsen an escalatory spiral of trade actions if one side blindly exerts pressure.
行有不得，反求诸己。美国应该复盘一下，你们从这些年的关税战、贸易战中得到了什么？贸易逆差是扩大了还是缩小了？制造业的竞争力是上升了还是下降了？通膨是好转了还是恶化了？民众的生活是变好了还是变糟了？
He reiterated that mutual respect is an important prerequisite of Sino-US relations. No country should fantasize that it can suppress China and maintain good relationship with China at the same time, the foreign minister added. Without mentioning Trump's name once during the press conference, Wang answered a question about the influence of the America First policy, saying major powers should not put selfish interests before principles, still less wield their power to bully the weak. On resolving the Ukraine-Russia war, Wang said China wants to achieve a fair, lasting and binding peace agreement acceptable to all parties, while stating that China-Russia relations as a constant in a turbulent world, not a variable in geopolitical games. Anna Chen, Cable News.
Amid the heating up of the U.S.-China trade war, U.S. President Donald Trump, in the latest twist in his fluctuating trade policy, suspended the 25% tariffs he imposed this week on most goods from Canada and Mexico. Anna Chen again has the story.
2 days after imposing new tariffs on Mexico and Canada imports, Trump signed executive orders postponing the duties on some goods for nearly 1 month. The exemptions will expire on April the 2nd, when Trump has threatened to impose a global regime of reciprocal tariffs on all U.S. trading partners. Trump said the delays have nothing to do with the market reactions.
It's just a modification, short term, because I didn't want to hurt the American. It would have hurt the American car companies if I did that.
Many imports from Mexico and Canada, especially autos and auto parts that comply with the 2020 United States-Mexico-Canada Agreement, will be excluded from the 25% tariffs for a month. His decision came after he spoke with the leaders of the big three automakers, namely Ford, General Motors and Stellantis, a day before. In response, Canada will delay a planned second wave of retaliatory tariffs on 125 billion Canadian dollars of U.S. products until April the 2nd. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau earlier said he does not expect the trade war with the U.S. to abate anytime soon. Meanwhile, Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum responded positively to the postponement, saying she told Trump in an excellent and respectful call that Mexico was making great strides in fulfilling his security demands. Anna Chen, Cable News.
European leaders vowed to rearm the continent, bolstering defense spending to ensure Europe's security and shore up support for Kyiv. Meanwhile, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has apologized to his U.S. counterpart Donald Trump in a letter. Anna Chen has more details.
Zelensky is in Brussels, busy shaking European leaders' hands on the sidelines of European Council emergency talks, lobbying support and unity, after U.S. President Donald Trump signaled that Europe must defend itself and also post military aid to Kyiv. The Ukrainian leader will visit Saudi Arabia next week, where officials from Kyiv and Washington will meet to discuss the peace plan for Ukraine. Zelensky will not take part in the talks, but he hoped it will be a meaningful meeting. Trump's special envoy Steve Witkoff said Trump had received a letter from Zelensky that included an apology and sense of gratitude after the public clash at the White House last Friday. As uncertainty looms over U.S.-Ukraine relations, EU leaders are determined to beef up their security and ensure future protection for Ukraine.
A stronger European defense also provides deterrence for Ukraine. Our efforts to strengthen European defense will also benefit Ukraine, because Ukraine's security is at the core of Europe's security.
European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen said history is being written as the EU pledged to free up 800 billion euros to rearm Europe. Anna Chen, Cable News.
A SpaceX's spaceship exploded after lifting off, raining debris and causing air traffic disruptions. U.S. space company SpaceX launched its Mammoth Starship rocket from Texas on Thursday. After reaching an altitude of nearly 150 kilometers, contact with the spacecraft was lost as it went into an out-of-control spin. The failure of the 8th Starship test came just over a month after the previous one also ended in explosion. This time, the wreckage was seen streaming from the skies. Several videos on social media showed fiery debris streaking through the dusk skies near South Florida and the Bahamas. The Federal Aviation Administration briefly issued ground stops at the Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Palm Beach, and Orlando airports. It also opened a mishap investigation into the incident. SpaceX said the spaceship experienced an energetic event in the aft section, which resulted in the loss of several engines, adding that there were no toxic materials among the debris. Mainland's foreign trade slowed down in the first 2 months of 2025 as the effects of U.S. tariffs began to sink in. According to the latest customs data, exports in U.S. dollar terms rose by 2.3% from a year earlier, below expectations of 5% growth, and fell sharply from the 10.7% recorded in December. Meanwhile, overall imports in the first 2 months plunged 8.4%, the steepest drop in this metric since July 2023, in contrast to expectations for a 1% rise. Total trade surplus stood at $170.5 billion for the first 2 months of the year, compared with $125.1 billion during the same period last year. The Association of Southeast Asian Nations remains as China's largest trading partner. In Chinese yuan terms, shipments to the ASEAN surged by 6.8%, while imports slid 0.2%. The European Union was next on the list, whereas the U.S. came third, with exports rising 3.4% and imports increasing 3.8%. Now let's take a look at the stock market. The Hang Seng Index ended the day down 138 points. Top active stocks of the day. Alibaba was down 80 cents. Tencent was down $10.50. Meituan was up $3.20, and Kuaishou was up $2.90. Onto the weather now. Overcast with 1 or 2 light rain patches, the minimum temperature will be about 13 degrees in the urban areas. Sunny periods in the afternoon with a maximum temperature of around 18 degrees. Temperatures will rise gradually and it will be brighter in the following couple of days. Now let's take a look at the weather around the world. That's our news tonight. I'm Jeremy Zhu. Thank you for watching and good night.